Now it's time to dig into the research. So the research is an absolutely critical component of email copywriting. And it's really what's going to separate your copy and your emails from all of the other emails out there, and from falling into the trap of writing generic sounding emails that don't really pull people in. Because ultimately, the thing that's going to separate the really gripping, impactful email copy from the generic is being able to dig into the pain points at a deep level as opposed to staying at the surface level. And this is also going to differentiate you from a lot of other email copywriters, because this is the step that people don't necessarily like to do, and they like to skip it. But a lot of times the reason why they skip it is because they don't really know how to do it in a way that's effective. And if you know a good process for doing your research, it can actually be a very fun, rewarding process, because you start to discover all these awesome things that you weren't previously aware of. So can't state enough how important research is. And we're going to outline for you a process to make it easy, and also so that you can find these deeper root fears, causes, pain points, dreams, aspirations, so that you're not stuck writing generic surface level emails.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So like Tyler said, the research needs to be done, and it needs to be done right. You can waste a lot of time going down rabbit holes that aren't actually going to serve you or your client or the business you're writing for, whether it's your business or your client's business. So making sure you have a very efficient, direct, and optimized research plan, method, and strategy is very, very, very important. Like Tyler said, it's about getting past the surface level and finding deep root fears, causes, true dreams, goals, and aspirations, right? For instance, in fitness, it's not only like, oh, I just want to get shredded, or like, oh, I want to get jacked. Like, we see that all the time with people who write emails for fitness businesses specifically. And it's so generic, and you could literally write any of those emails for any fitness business, and it like applies, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, if it applies to everyone, and every single, fitness business, and it looks like it could be written for any business, but not one business or one type of person in particular, chances are you're barely touching the surface. You're staying generic. You're not going to that deep root level, which is what we want to get to. So the best places to do your research are actually Amazon, forums, Facebook groups, and Reddit. If you use Google Chrome, there's a discussions extension that you can add to Google Chrome, where when you do a Google search, under like the more options, when you click the Google discussions extension, it will only pull up forums for whatever it is that you're looking for. And in general, you want to look for actually the longer and more detailed the review, if it's a product, the post, if it's on Facebook, or a forum like Reddit, a forum including Reddit. The longer, the more detailed, the more specific, actually, the better that is. That's where the gold is. The really short one, like, this helped, this was great, that gives you absolutely nothing to work with. So starting with Amazon, you want to find really good products, like best-selling products in whatever space it is that you're in. So for instance, you want products that are well-reviewed, meaning they have like 4 or 5 stars, and they have lots of reviews, right? Not just like, oh, it has 15 reviews. That's not a whole lot of data, but it's got like 1,500 reviews. Okay, now we're starting to get somewhere, right? And what you want to do once you find those products, you want to go through 2 types of reviews. The 5-star reviews first, because that's what people love about the product and why they bought it in the first place. Then you want to go to the 1-star reviews, what people hate about the product, what they don't like about it. Because when you know what people don't like about the product, you can then position your offer as being superior and more effective and better, because it doesn't have whatever issues or doesn't create or cause whatever the problems were that these 1-star reviews brought up, okay? Another reason why these are so important is because they show you why people actually buy. So I was on a mastermind call with Stefan a while ago, and we were going through this research process on Amazon, and we used home security cameras as the example. So if you ask someone, why do people buy home security cameras? What's the answer? What's your gut reaction tell you? Your gut reaction is going to tell you people buy home security cameras to keep their homes safe, to keep them secure from robbers or burglars or bad people getting in. Well, turns out when you actually do the research and look at why people buy home security cameras, that could not be further from the truth. The main reason why people buy home security cameras is not to keep their home secure, it's to keep an eye on their dog or their pets while they're away at work. Which is crazy because you never in a million years would have guessed that or gotten to that conclusion on your own. The only way you could possibly reach that conclusion is by literally getting the words and feedback from actual buyers. That is the only way you can get information like that. That's why this is so powerful, because you'll uncover things that you could never, ever get unless you actually go through people's actual experiences and reasons and motivations behind why they bought something or why they didn't buy something. And like I said a minute ago on the forums and the Facebook groups and Reddit and things like that, the more detailed and lengthier the posts, the better. This next one is a little bit more related to long form sales copy, but it can work for hooks for health related copy for health supplements. And that's using a site called Science Daily, where you can find some really interesting research that's being done in a lot of different areas, and it's presented in a really easy to understand way. PubMed is more, again, for the actual research behind ingredients. That's like the peer-reviewed medical journals and stuff like that. So for the most part, you won't need those last two for email copy, but they can come in handy for long-form copy, or if you're writing email copy for supplements, then you can use Science Daily for hooks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through an Amazon page for an anxiety and stress relief supplement. Tyler and I have our own stress and anxiety relief product. It's called Stressless. And this was part of the research process that I went through when I wrote the sales funnel and the emails for the Stressless product. Okay. So notice how it's 4.5 stars. And look at this, 3,127 ratings and reviews. That's a lot. You know we're going to have some really good data here to pull from, okay? So we go there, and then remember, we look at the 5-star reviews and the 1-star reviews. We won't read all of them, we'll read a couple, and then I'm going to go through my own research document that I pulled exclusively off of this Amazon page, because there's a lot of reviews here, right? So the title of this, my anxiety is under control and I can sleep without anti-anxiety meds. I've been taking anti-anxiety meds for 8 months now because I had insomnia for 2 years and was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. Although the meds worked to calm me and I could sleep, I felt fatigued most of the time, but I did not relate to this medication related to the medication at that time. I also went to see my doctor because I started not sleeping again, thinking some nights, and at the same time would not cope very well with stress at work, which is a lot. My doctor advised increasing the dose to double. This is when I started seeking alternatives as I didn't want to be over-dependent on these meds. I purchased this product first because it contained the B complex and then the positive reviews from people who had suffered from anxiety. When I received it, I immediately stopped the medications I was taking for anxiety. The first week I didn't sleep well. Stuck with me for some reason, and by the middle of the second week, I was sleeping like a baby. After week 3, I noticed I would fall asleep, stay asleep until morning. The other plus is my fatigue is gone. I rise early and find myself eager to make breakfast for my family and feel like I have more energy at work. Lastly, the stress at work does not get me down like it used to. That's so huge, right? Here's another one. I have serious anxiety. That anxiety becomes paranoia and obsession. The last 6 months or so, I felt myself get worse. Less control of my emotions and reactions. Less control of my anxiety and paranoia. So I decided to look for a good stress relief supplement and decided on this one. I don't know if it's just the placebo effect or if it actually worked almost immediately. But 30 minutes to an hour after I took it, I felt my anxiety melt away. I honestly didn't realize how much anxiety I had until I took this and felt the comparison. I feel more in control of how I reacted to situations. Things that would normally cause me to have anxiety, I was able to just push out of my mind. I feel more rational and logical. I actually cried going to bed because I was so happy from the relief I felt. So glad I found a natural supplement that helps me feel more like myself. Like, this is gold. There's so much gold here.
Amazing.
So I won't go through all these because there's a lot, but I'm going to go through some of the ones that I pulled. So I pulled all of these from this Amazon page, right? So some of the stuff that people really liked was they said, I can't believe how calm this makes me feel on the inside. High anxiety days are finally bearable again for me, especially if you're anything like me and refuse to take prescription medication to manage anxiety. So much happier and excited, and at the same time, much calmer and less worried about everything. So this was the one that we just read. Here's one. I suffered from anxiety and depression very bad. Wouldn't even want to get up out of bed. Knowing I did not want to be put on a psychoactive prescription, I tried this expecting whatever, maybe it'll work, but probably not. It works. Wonders. I thought it was a placebo, but I began taking 2 a day direct, and I feel amazing. Like I've been able to beat anxiety and depression with the help of this wonderful herbal supplement. I've literally cried happy tears because of how much better I've felt. And to think how low I've gotten and consumed by anxiety and depression, I feel amazing now, 100 times better than before. I felt like my body was always on heightened alert. With Zen, that feeling has subsided considerably. I have a very active toddler who's busy all day and loves to test my patience. This supplement keeps me so calm and chill. The first day I thought it was in my head, but today I'm 100% convinced it's Zen. The product keeps you calm under pressure but gives you energy at the same time. Perfect combination for my lifestyle. Really helps with my anxiety and outbursts due to my anxiety and depression. They don't make me drowsy. I actually was having a pretty serious anxiety attack one day, and I came home and took one of these, and it really did help me out of it. And this one talks about all of the different stress issues that they had. They're no longer there. I'm 30 now with 3 kids who are 8, 5, and 3. My anxiety became worse with each child I had. I feared the worst over everything. I would have frequent panic attacks. I barely slept. My anxiety caused so much stress that I became a monster to myself, my husband, and my kids. My social anxiety was to the point where I didn't want to go hang out anywhere I wasn't comfortable, which in return ruined friendships. I used all of this, right, in the sales letter. Now, I suffered with stress and anxiety for a very long time. That's why I created the product in the first place. But I wanted to know what people were currently thinking right now. I wanted to take my experiences completely out of the equation.
And I just want to – can I –
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to jump on that because I think it's a very common misconception that, well, I've been through this myself, so I know what the pain points are. I know what the dreams and aspirations are. And that is seriously the biggest mistake you can make, because if you think that, you might convince yourself that you don't need to do the research. And if you convince yourself of that, you won't uncover things like this. I mean, Sam doesn't know what it's like to have 3 kids.
Did you not?
He doesn't know what it's like to become a monster to his significant other. Like he hasn't been through this stuff. And you have to get out of your own way and understand that you have to go do the research, even if you think you already know. One of the things that really stuck with me that I heard from Stefan, actually, he's written so many supplement offers, right? He's written a ton of winning offers in that space. And yet, even if he's going to write for a new offer that's nearly the same as an offer he's already written for, in other words, like it's solving the same problem, he starts the research process from scratch as if he's never done it before. And the reason why he does that, one, is for the reason I just described. You can never fall into the trap of thinking you already know everything. And number 2, you don't know how things have changed since the last time you did your research on that particular topic. There might be new solutions out there that didn't exist before, even if it's only been a few months. And so you have to always go in with this open mind. And Stefan says every single time he does that, he's pleasantly surprised. He uncovers something new. And it gets him excited to do the research every single time. And if you can come in with that mindset of, wow, what am I going to discover this time? You'll find some really, really good stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, like Tyler said, I have lines in our sales letter about, not becoming a monster to yourself and your loved ones. and not snapping at your significant other. And there's another one in here about how people talked about how they're one of these here that they were I can't find it in here, but it's somewhere in this document where when they took their anti-anxiety medications that the doctor prescribed them, they felt like a zombie. But then when they took the supplement, they got rid of their anxiety, but felt like themselves and didn't feel like a zombie. So I suffered with stress and anxiety for a very long time, but I was never on anti-anxiety medications. So I didn't know that people who take those pills oftentimes feel like a zombie, and they feel like there's two extremes. There's either you're completely stressed out and anxious and you can't function, or you take the pills and they reduce your stress and anxiety so much that you can't function either because you're just the zombie and you can't process anything and you're just completely zoned out, right? So that was something that I incorporated into the sales letter because it was something that people were struggling with, but also because we had ingredients that actually make it so that you can have an alert, calm, and relaxation, right? But I wouldn't have had those insights had I not done the research on Amazon. So if there's one thing that this video teaches you is that you never skip the research. Always do the research, always dig in as deep as you can, and everything is just going to get so much better. Remember, if you remember in the tribe building example, when we went through the Steve Weatherford email, the trusted advisor and doctor email from the Sunday after Black Friday, at the end of Black Friday weekend, right? The reason that email worked so well, and I hadn't done the research, but it's because I knew for a fact, because I'd experienced it, what people in that space, because I used to be one of them, are going through on that day, at that time. And I painted that picture clearer than anyone else could have. I understood, which means I expressed that I understood where they were coming from and described their problem better than they could themselves. So they assumed I had the solution, right? This is the same thing. There are times when you will literally copy and paste words from a review and put it into copy, email copy, sales copy. Not all the time, but some of the time. And it works really, really well because you are clearly demonstrating to the reader that you understand them and their problem at a level that no one else does, because you're actually literally using their words back to them, right? But it just works so well. So never skip this part of the process. It is absolutely mission critical, and it's just going to make your copy that much better.
I think that's a perfect place to wrap it. Do your research.